Welcome to the Team SMI starting lineup, presented by Team SMI. This evening, Matt Skinner and company will give you all you need to know to get you ready for Friday Night Lights. This program is also streaming live on the Craddock Sports Facebook page. The Team SMI starting lineup is presented by Team SMI. Also brought to you by State Farm agent Amy Brown, Edward Jones of Carrollton, Douglasville, and Villa Rica, Osier Apparel, Southland Insurance, West Georgia Plumbing, Septic, and HVAC, and West Georgia Technology. Now, let's go live on the air and on the Craddock Sports Facebook page to the Mustard Seed Cafe at City Station with your host, Matt Skinner.
Go. And good evening, everyone. Welcome into the Team SMI starting lineup show presented by SMI and all of our great sponsors. David Brock back in the studios, Joel Brock behind the camera. It is so sad. I mean, this might be probably going to be our last show here. We want to just take the time to thank everybody at the Mustard Seed Cafe here at City Station for allowing us to use the facility and all the sponsors for making the show possible. We're going to recap a little bit of the football season, go over some of the final records, news and notes, and just because football season's over doesn't mean there's not other sports. We here at Craddock Sports are going to continue to strive to try to get some basketball games on and talk about wrestling and all kinds of stuff. Just follow our Facebook page for more. And tonight on the show, we're actually going to have Coach Tim Criswell, the Carrollton High School boys basketball coach, come on and be on the show. We're going to get to interview him. He's a great interview, so you don't want to miss that. But let's kind of recap. Last week was a tough loss for the Carrollton Trojans as their season came to an end by the Buford Wolves, a final score of 24-21, and it kind of happened in the last moments. Carrollton missed a 52-yard field goal with about 2.5 minutes left to go in the ball game, and Buford was able to get it to, I think, around their own 40. Around in that area, and they went for a fake punt. They converted it and then got another big run, and they were able to kick a game-winning field goal as time expired. So a tough loss for the Carrollton Trojans, and definitely have nothing to hang your heads about. It was a great season. Didn't end the way that we wanted it to end, but nonetheless, it was a great season for them. And Coach Calhoun and the staff will hopefully have them back and better than ever next year. But they finished the season 12-1. Bowden and Haralson County both finished their respective seasons 8-3 on the season. Bowden had a bunch of kids on their all-region team. That came out yesterday. The region defensive player of the year was Ben Fortson. Congratulations to him. He had a terrific year for the Bowden Red Devils. Gage Stevens and Cooper Smith were first team all-region on the offensive side of the football. So congratulations to the Bowden Red Devils. And Haralson County will hopefully get to see their region all-region team here pretty soon as well. Josh Barlow on our Craddock Sports Facebook page commenting, I would love to have seen Warner Robins and Carrollton at the TED. Yes, I would have too. Seeing Carrollton at Turner Field would have been awesome, which you look at the forecast right now, it's looking like it's going to be cold and rainy next Friday and Saturday. Of course, that's a week away, but it could get a little sloppy over at Turner Field coming up in Atlanta next week. Congratulations to Seth Hodges, who was named Region 5 AA Player of the Year. Seth Hodges, a huge season for the Bremen Blue Devils. They finished 8-4 on the season, and also a huge congratulations goes out to Evan Fuller from the Bremen Blue Devils, the kicker, the 3-time All-Region, and was an All-State last year. We'll see if he'll be All-State again this year. He is going to Kennesaw State University to continue his career punting and kicking for the Owls. So congratulations to that young man. The Temple Tigers, who finished 4th in Region 5A, finished the season 6-5. Philip Johnson is also a guy that was a first-team All-Region, almost 2,000. I think he did get the 2,000-yard rushing mark. I'll have to go back and check. He got close to it. He had a terrific season running the football for the Tigers, and guess what? He'll be back, so that will definitely be a player to watch next year for the Temple football team. Heard County Braves finished their season 4-7, but it's not how you start, it's how you finished. And down the stretch, they won 4 out of their last 5 games. They had a terrific season, played a lot of tough football teams, and that ultimately helped them get to the playoffs in this tough region. And really looking forward to seeing what Coach Barron and that staff can do next year with who they've got coming back. The Central Lions, kind of in the same boat. I think they had 5 games this year that were decided by 8 points or less, and they were in pretty much every single ball game that they played all season long for a period of time. Central Lions finished 3-7, and they're losing 17 starters off this year's football team. But something that's a really good positive for them, they are moving into a much easier region, as we see across the state. We had Cartersville and Sandy Creek both advanced to the Sweet 6, or both advanced to the Elite 8, and Sandy Creek is still around, and they are representing Central's region really well. That's going to be a good game this week as they take on Oconee County. Villa Rica, kind of in the same boat as Central. They were in some tough ball games this year. They play in a really tough region with new coach Christian Honeycutt. They'll be right back, I think, in a good spot next year, playing in a much easier region. I think that will definitely help them out coming up next year. And the Mount Zion Eagles, the story for them was all about the injury bug. They finished the season 1-9, but they fought their guts out all season long. Unfortunately, came up a little short and more so of their games. But they'll be back next year with Coach Gordon, a young squad, and hopefully have everybody back healthy next week. We'll talk a little bit more about the Carrollton-Buford matchup from last week. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we'll bring in Coach Tim Criswell of the Carrollton High School boys basketball team right after this.
City Station, a multi-purpose community center behind CVS on Maple Street in Carrollton, was conceived by Southern Hills Christian Church with a goal of serving Carroll County. City Station offers preschool services, college student housing, the Mustard Seed Cafe, an indoor playground, fitness center, and basketball court, as well as state-of-the-art conference rooms available for your next event. You matter, and City Station exists to serve you. Come check out City Station in person or find us online at citystation.org and Facebook.
Listen, then speak. That's how your Edward Jones financial advisor gets to know you, your personal situation, and your individual goals. Smart answers come from listening to your questions. Let your Edward Jones financial advisor show you the difference. For an Edward Jones financial advisor near you, call 1-800-ED-JONES, visit edwardjones.com, or stop by any Edward Jones office in Carrollton, Villa Rica, or Douglasville. Listen, then speak. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Edward Jones, Carrollton, Villa Rica, and Douglasville. Member SIPC.
It's not just your home or your car. It's the hours you spend in your kitchen mastering your legendary wing recipe and packing the family in the car as you head to the high school tailgate. While other companies just call it bundling, at State Farm, we see your home and your auto as the time and memories you make with them. This is State Farm Agent Amy Brown. I understand what your family, home, and auto really means to you. Come see me, State Farm Agent Amy Brown, on South Candler Street in Villa Rica to make sure you're getting the insurance protection that you deserve.
Osier Apparel makes it easy for you to outfit your employees in company attire. The Osier staff will work with you to set up a company store online with your logos, approved garment brands, colors, and styles. Once the store is up and running, employees visit the store and order direct within your allotted budget, or can order additional garments on their own within your preset acceptable parameters. You've got enough to do. Alleviate the hassle of outfitting your employees. To find out more or to set up your company store, visit osierapparel.com or stop by their office on Avenue C in Carrollton.
This is Rachel Eubanks of West Georgia Plumbing, Septic, and HVAC. As we near Thanksgiving, we should take a moment to appreciate God's many blessings. Our health, the freedoms we enjoy in this great country, our friends and family, our successes as well as our failures. Thank you for the friendship and trust you have shown our family since the opening of our businesses. If there is anything we can ever do for you, please don't hesitate to give us a call. Best wishes for a happy Thanksgiving from your friends at West Georgia Plumbing, Septic, and HVAC.
In America, someone's cell phone screen cracks every second.
I'd hate to be that guy.
Face it, someday you'll be that guy. When that day comes, don't send your phone off to be repaired. It takes weeks and costs a fortune. From busted screens to battery replacement, West Georgia Technology repairs phones and computers fast for a price that will make you smile.
Ah, shoot. So who do I call again?
West Georgia Technology, 678-664-0486, 928 South Park Street in Carrollton.
Whether it's a car accident, storm damage, or a fire, when the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you saved money in 15 minutes. In this moment, it doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is that your independent insurance agent and the company that stands behind them have you covered. Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. Visit Susan, Gary, and the rest of the crew at Southland Insurance on Corporate Drive in Carrollton or online at southlandinsagency.com.
And welcome back into the Team SMI starting lineup show presented by SMI. We're live here at the Mustard Seed Cafe at City Station. It's an honor to be here. Unfortunately, probably going to be our last show. We hope to try to continue the show. We'll keep you posted on our Gradic Sports Facebook page. But joining me now, longtime friend and Coach Tim Criswell. How's it going?
Things are well, Matt. Thanks for having me. It's
Yes.
Great to be here. And, we're kind of getting the season started early, but looking forward to it.
Yeah, before we get talking a little bit about you and the rest of the season, talk about your big win on Tuesday. I mean, you get your, 4 or 5 kids that primarily play football that are in your rotation. They get off the field on Friday. They go and play a game on Saturday, and then they got to play Villarica, and they come out with a big win.
Yeah, it was a nice win for us. Villarica's always got a good
Right.
team, and Jason does a good job with them. They're well coached. And, we just we hung in there and got some big shots from Nate Jones that really helped
Yes.
us. And, those guys that were playing football, I'm not saying they're not in shape, but they're not in basketball shape yet. So they had to go through – they're going to have to go through a period of getting into basketball condition. But they gave me everything they had. I couldn't ask for more of them. And, I think we got a group that will have good chemistry and play together good. And, people didn't realize in that game that Marcellus was really sick. And, he was not his normal self at all because he was really not feeling well at all.
Yeah.
And he played anyway. He had a real bad fever, and, it was tough on him. But, he gave it all he had, and it was a very fortunate game to win.
Had a couple of people chime in. Ricky Herrera just said y'all's boys team beat New Manchester 53-37, so that's good for the 9th grade team.
Yeah.
Taking care of business. Steve Walker said it's good to see you on the Facebook as well. Let's talk a little bit about yourself, Coach. Growing up here in Carrollton, what do you most remember about growing up and playing here at Carrollton? Buddy Knapp, right?
Yeah, I played for Coach Knapp, and, growing up here, I never wanted to be anything but a Trojan. I used to go to all the games when I was little, watching my brother play, and then I'd go to the football games. I'd go to the Carrollton relays, and my daddy was involved big time in the Booster Club, and all I ever wanted to be was a Trojan, and still that way. If you cut me, I'm bleeding black and gold. Always will. It's never going to change, and there's nothing I enjoy more than being around the Trojans and around Carrollton High School and around this community. I've had some other opportunities to go other places, but just never wanted to. And I just love it here.
Talk about your baseball passion, too, because you're a pretty good baseball player growing up, too.
Yeah, well, baseball was just a sport that, I loved. And, my daddy would take us out there and we'd hit and throw and then go water ski. That's what I grew up doing. But, my dad taught me a lot. And then, I felt like, that was just a sport that I had my best chances if I could ever get to the big leagues or have a chance to play at the level that I wanted to, that baseball might be my best choice, best chance. But, it didn't pan out, but, I had a good time going that way.
Well, yeah, you got to play with some pretty good baseball players, Jeff Blauser, Ron Gann. I mean, you were in the minor leagues with those guys. How fun was that, getting to travel around and play baseball with those guys? Yeah,
I still do. I still talk to them. I still talk to Blouse. I still talk to Ronnie Gant. Played golf with Tom Glavine the other day, and he does he did an event for the sports auction, and he calls us the Trojan Nation, and he's a great guy. And Brian Snicker was my manager 2 years, and I still get to talk to him. I text him, he'll text me back. And, it's just it's just an experience. Even if you don't get to the big leagues, there's things that happen. I faced some great pitchers. To be honest with you, I'm telling you the truth, I faced Randy Johnson.
That slider's nasty, ain't it?
And that was when he was 18, 19 years old, and he didn't know where it was going. It might hit you in the head. It was scary to go up there and bat. He threw it so hard, he didn't have any idea where it was going in the minor league. But I faced faced Dwight Gooden.
He's pretty good too.
Yeah, he'd already been the Cy Young Award winner. Then he hurt his arm and came down to the minor leagues, and we were playing the Mets in the minor leagues in high A ball one time, and there he was on the mound. I said, "Good God, Dwight Gooden's out there." So,
man, well, your son's getting to live that a little bit right now out with the Angels too. Talk about him and how he's doing out there.
Well, yeah, he's. I talked to him today. He's.
We're talking about Cooper Criswell, guys.
Yeah, he's played a whole year last year. His first year was in high A ball out in the California League, and he did well. I mean, he didn't set the woods on fire, but he didn't do bad either. He threw 117 innings, so that's a lot of innings.
A lot of work.
And we're hoping, and next year that he can get to Double-A, and if he gets to Double-A, it'll be in Huntsville, Alabama. So I won't have to fly to California.
That'd be great. That's a 2.5-hour drive.
Yeah, and they play in Birmingham, they play in Chattanooga, and they play the Braves in Mississippi. So all the areas are in this distance that, if we knew he was pitching, we could go. But, he's really starting to develop a little more, I think, and he's gaining some weight. He was that little thin, rangy kid for several years, and now he's up to about 220. So that's he's gained about 15 pounds.
Well, that's good.
It's all in mass, Hopefully he can put on a little more.
So not only did you get to play, some professional baseball, but talk about your time playing at West Georgia, playing basketball out there. How was that?
It was great. I mean, I left Furman because I played that 1 year there, and that was quite an experience too. But I got to play a lot and had some games against some famous people. But when I left, because the coach who recruited me got fired, and the new one that come in was one of Bobby Knight's assistants, and he told me he wasn't going to let me play baseball there anymore. He said, "You're on basketball scholarship. You need to be in here with us." And I just said, "I'm not staying if I can't play." And he just said, "Well, you're not going to play anymore here." So I just left, and I signed a baseball contract after that, after I went to junior college for 1 year, and then I came back. You could play professional in one sport and
college in another.
In Division II. You couldn't in the SEC, so I couldn't go to Auburn, which I had a chance to go, but that's why I came back to West Georgia, and I love playing for Coach Kaiser. Coach Kaiser was a great guy to play for, and we had some good teams, and had a lot of fun, and I still like going to the West Georgia and watching West Georgia play and being around, and one of the things that people don't know, and I could tell several. I won't talk too much about this, but when I was a freshman at Furman and I was starting, we played North Carolina one night, and guess who I had to guard?
Michael.
The GOAT, the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan. I had to guard him. And it was I can tell a lot of stories about that game because
how many did he drop on you?
about 8 minutes into the game, the horn went off. Substitution for the Paladins. But I did score 8 points in that game, and they had James Worthy and Sam Perkins and Jimmy Black and
y'all didn't have a chance.
Matt Doherty. They won the national championship that year, and there's some more stories about that game. But Roy Williams was the assistant, and then the next night we had to play North Carolina State when Jim Valvano was still the coach. And they had Derek Wittenberg. I had to guard him the next night. So
you're asking, why do I got to be so long and lengthy?
Well, that was national champions in that year, and the next year NC State won it.
Right.
So quite an experience,
That is a great experience. Talk a little bit about I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. You've been the coach now at Carrollton. Has it been 30?
This will be my 32nd year, 31st year as a head coach.
Yeah, so if you could pick, and I'm going to put you on the spot in this, and if you don't have to answer it, but what do you think the best overall team that you've had? What if you could go back out of these 30 years and pick one team to run with right now? Who would it be? I know that's a tough one.
That's a tough question. There's been a few good teams. The two teams probably that would be considered in my eyes as the best. Well, let me say three.
Okay,
instead of two.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd say three. The team that went to the state championship when my son Cooper was a senior, when I had Monte Glenn.
Yeah.
That was a really good team because
Yes.
we had Monte, who was one of the best post players. And then Stephen Thomas's junior year when I had Reggie Brown, Blake Sabo, and Reggie Shell, and all those guys.
So that's 97?
Yes.
97?
No, that
Or
was
98.
98.
98.
And we lost a game we shouldn't have lost in the quarterfinals, but to Gainesville on a bomb 3-pointer at the buzzer. Yeah. We were up 2, loose ball, and Reggie Brown tried to grab it, and the guy picked it up and shot it from about 35 feet. When the horn went off in the bottom of the net. We had a chance to win it that year. And then the other team was the year O'Darian Bassett, and that crowd was 28-0. We were going, and back then you didn't. The team that was number one didn't host. They just had the region already decided who was host. So we had to go play a 4 seed at their gym instead of our gym. And they had a guy that was supposed to have a broken arm that was a real good player. Well, he was faking that broke arm. We didn't think he was going to play, and then he came out, and they held the ball. They just slowed the game down and held the ball, and we struggled a little bit making some shots, and we lost that game. So those 3 teams were probably the 3, I would say, are the 3 best teams I've ever had. And the one with Monte and Cooper and Jarrell Rowe and Dante Bonner and all them made it to the state championship.
That was a good team.
Yep, it was a good team.
Talk a little bit now about the accident that you had. I mean, this community rallied around you, Miss Dawn, the whole family. Talk about the biggest just take us through what was kind of going through your head, I mean, when you were able to come to.
Yeah, it was to be totally honest with you, Matt, when I came out of the coma and didn't realize, I didn't even know what had happened, why I was where I was at, and I still don't remember it happening. But to go through all the stuff, because my wife was so in control of everything and was so unbelievably good. I don't think
there's been a stronger woman that you could.
Oh, she was just strong, Faith, and she wrote stuff, and and I was so out of it, not knowing what was going on. But now the support that I got from this community was just unbelievable. The prayers I got and the comments that I would get back from her stuff was just unbelievable. And I was a lucky man to survive the way I did, to be down and not knowing if you're going to make it for so long. People didn't know if I was going to survive or not. And thank the Lord that so many prayers went up.
Right.
And you never know if prayers are going to get answered, and you don't ever know for sure, but you just keep praying because He answers prayers. But I was very fortunate that a lot of prayers were answered, and I survived. And then I went through riding in a wheelchair for about 4 to 6 weeks, and I couldn't eat, I couldn't swallow, just being fed through my stomach, and things were not looking too good, and they still didn't know. But boy, I just kept fighting and saying, I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
And it reminds me a little bit. I don't even want to make it sound wrong, but I know how hard Chase fought in this last situation he went through, and what an example he has been as a young man. And then I know you read what Stephen Slappy wrote.
Right.
That blog he did was unbelievable.
Incredible. Yeah, we shared it out on our Facebook page, and if you guys haven't read it, y'all need to go read it. It's called Victory. It's incredible.
It's called Victory, and it really is incredible. And I was a victor too. It was a victory for me to survive. What all Chase, his faith that he showed through that whole situation was just incredible, and it was all over this community and all over that football team. And I got on the back of our shirts this year that our kids are going to wear on home games. It's going to have the same thing on that 40. We got
awesome.
Trojans will play for Chase on our basketball. And that was because the kids wanted to do it.
Awesome.
And we'll have them on when we play home games.
Very awesome.
And, you never know what's going to happen in life.
And God takes those tragedies and makes stuff happen. I mean, the community rallied around you just like they did with Chase McDaniel. I mean, could you have ever seen yourself coaching again after something like that happened? I mean,
I'll be honest with you. There was a time.
Because I'm going to go with you probably didn't think you were going to coach again.
I really didn't know if I was going to walk.
Walk, right.
I mean, there was a time where I was like, the first time I tried to stand up out of my bed, I couldn't. And I thought,
that's a scary feeling.
I had to walk with a belt around my waist with two girls holding me up for a substantial amount of time to get to where I could walk. But boy, I was fighting. I said, I tell you, I'm going to make it. I'm going to fight. And boy, it was just a tippy toe step, like you teach, like when I taught Riley, Cooper, and Kirby to walk. It's just them little bitty steps. Yeah. When they got where they could stand up, that's the way I learned again. And
you still shoot the best you can, still, right?
Yeah, I still have I had so much nerve damage. My right arm's still numb from a little above my elbow down, but I'll get in the gym sometimes and throw around shots and. I try to tell those kids like Roger Kaiser used to tell me. I mean, Coach Kaiser is the best shooter I've ever seen. I've never seen anybody that could shoot.
You're the best shooter that I've ever seen.
I would be in the gym at practice, and I would be in there shooting, getting ready for practice. I'd be there early. I'd always go early to get 100 shots up before practice started. Coach Kaiser would always walk in and grab him a ball, and he'd start shooting. And he'd look at me and said, I didn't know the second best shooter was already in the gym. The second best shooter in the gym was already here. And I would laugh, and we would have a good time playing a game of horse. But you can't beat him in horse. He can make it from everywhere.
It would always be fun if I ever, came to practice or when I traveled with you guys, seeing you and AB and Matt Lyons shoot out because y'all it seemed like y'all went about 10 minutes without missing. But
we always had those wars. Yeah.
But nonetheless, let's talk a little bit about your team this year.
Okay.
It's been great so far getting to talk with Coach Tim Criswell. We appreciate you coming out tonight. I know you're a busy man, and but this team you got a chance to be special. You got Melvin Edwards and Marcellus Lockett, 2 3-year starters, and a good supporting cast, a young supporting cast, but a good little supporting cast around them.
Oh yeah, we feel like Melvin's a little banged up from that last football game. He got his ankle rolled up a little bit. He's probably out 2 weeks, and we'll just play without him. And it's just good experience for some. If Melvin's not in there, it's good experience for some of those younger guys to get some minutes. And then you never know if somebody's going to get in foul trouble. It's nice to have a good depth. And Marcellus has been a great player for 3 years already. Played a varsity as a freshman, and he's a guy that can do a lot. And Melvin is the same way. Mm-hmm. And then I got guys coming on like Nick Juniors that are Nick Session, who's my inside guy that's coming on, starting to gain his confidence.
He had a big game on Tuesday. Even though he got in foul trouble.
He got in a little foul trouble, but he's playing high. Yeah. And he's getting more confidence, and I really like him. And Nate Jones made some big shots for us against Villarica, and he's a guy that we knew could shoot it. He's playing football too, and we're trying to get him out there as much as we could. And he was ready to go, and he did a good job. The other night, and then you got Cyrus McClure, who didn't get to play last year, and Terrell Carmichael, Amari Hall, Juan Nieves, all those guys were playing football, and they just practiced one day and then boom, and go, and they did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
So, and then you got a few of those young kids like Noah Melson, and he got banged up a little bit. It didn't get to I had him was going to maybe play him a little bit if we could against Villa Rica, but he got banged up in the JV game, got a big bruise on his thigh, and he couldn't really hardly run. So, there's just about once we get Melvin back, I feel like I've got 10 guys, and that's counting Kobe Cato, and I think I got 10 guys that I can feel comfortable putting in the game, and it's nice to know you got 10 that you feel comfortable putting in the game.
Yeah.
And once we get enough time to practice and play, we'll figure out who our best 5 are, what are the best things we can do. It just takes a little while.
Yeah, and this region's no joke either. I mean, you got to go play Hiram. You've got to play. I mean, Kell's returning everybody. I mean, all the Paulding schools can play.
Oh yeah.
And pretty much every game that I've seen, they're pretty well coached too. So I mean, not only are you dealing with good players, but good coaches to go up against.
The region's good. If I had to say right now, probably the best team is probably going to be right now Kell.
Right.
They've got a lot of their guys back, and they picked up a couple transfers. This transferring stuff turns into
the Cobb County bullcrap.
Yeah, Hiram has the same thing. They got 2 transfers, and they're both good players. And people go and go and go, I guess. And, I lost one, but I got enough. I feel good about it. We got good chemistry. Nobody's selfish. Nobody's trying to be something they're not. Yeah, nobody's got it about them. It's about trying to be Trojans and get it done. So that's important for your team, especially in a basketball game. And you want to have that good chemistry.
You got a good coaching staff too, with Coach Bray, Coach Phillips, and now Coach Sorrells. You're added in as well.
Yeah, it's great when everybody on my coaching staff played for me. Except Coach Sorrells.
Yeah.
And he went to Central. And, I don't hold that against him. But he's a good basketball guy, and he's got a young freshman that's going to be a good player too. So, but when you got Don Bray, who was on my first team, and you got Ombre Phillips, and you got Shamad Cochran coaching your 8th grade team, you got Marcus Reese helping, you got A.J. Barge coaching my 9th grade team. All those guys
got it made.
Have played for me and wanted to be around it because they enjoyed being a Trojan and enjoyed playing. That's where they want to be. And they're just like I was. When I left here and I had a chance to come back, I said, man, I can go back to Carrollton and coach. I'd love to coach at Carrollton because that's where I wanted to go to school and that's where I want to be. And still that way today.
Yeah. So you're at Hiram tomorrow night, big region game. First region home game is what I think the December 17th against Kell.
Yeah, that'll be a big one.
If I'm not mistaken. So, guys, you need to come out and support this basketball team. Both the girls and the boys have a solid team this year. Coach Thompson with the girls is doing a great job, and we can always count on Carrollton basketball to be at a high level.
Well, we hope so. And, I feel like my team is hard work. One thing, can I tell you one thing?
Yeah, go right ahead.
I had one transfer, and that's fine. I want the people that want to be a Trojans here. And Kevin Swint is going to Clemson. There is not a better leader anywhere than Kevin Swint. I would love for him to stay here and play for me another year next year as a senior because he played for me a lot last year as a junior. But I knew he was graduating early and going to Clemson on early.
He's going to be a pretty good player.
He's going to be. But you know what? The thing that's so special about Kevin, the other night in Villa Rica, he was right behind our bench.
I saw
pulling for our kids.
Yeah.
My wife always tells me she watches him on the bench last year. She said, boy, he's the leader of that team. And I said, oh, yeah, he's a leader. And today, after practice, before I came over here to speak with you, he came in my locker room talking to my kids, his former teammates, that he's going to be gone when we play.
Yeah.
I told him, I said, Kevin, sit down. Listen, let me tell you something. You're one of the best leaders I've ever been around. If you want to come in this locker room, anytime we play a game, I don't care where it's at, on the road, here, you want to come in the locker room before the game and talk to this team, you come and talk to them because you're a teammate to them.
That's awesome.
And you are an unbelievable great leader. And I have never been a Clemson fan. But if you're on that field, I'm going to have to pull for Clemson.
Oh, man. Don't
but
say
I'm
that
rolling,
too
you
loud.
know I'm rolling with the Tide.
Oh, man. Well, I saw on Facebook, too, Kevin today actually went out to talk to the Carroll County or the Carrollton Rec Department football team, the all-star team as well. So that just speaks volumes about Swint and what
he is
means.
a special kid. Yeah. He really is. Yeah. He was so fun to coach in basketball, and he's such a great football player. But he was a factor in the games last year, and he would have been a major factor this year. But I know what his path is, and I mean,
you got Brent Venables knocking on his door. Dabo.
Yeah, and he is he's a special kid to me, and he's a special kid to this community. He's a Trojan like you're supposed to be. Yeah. He's special.
Well, Coach Criswell, I appreciate you taking the time to be with us. Great interview as always, and look forward to seeing you hopefully on December 17th against Cal. I'll be there.
Yep, we'll play 3 or 4 region games before then on the road, then we'll get a lot at home after Christmas. So there'll be a lot of home games after Christmas.
Awesome.
And the region tournament's going to be in Carrollton, the semifinals and finals.
You finally won. You finally got them, convinced them to get it there.
We finally got a vote by somebody. I don't know how it happened. I wasn't there then for that vote. That's when I was hurt.
That might have been the problem.
That's when I was hurt.
Just kidding. But thank you, Coach Criswell. We'll get you out of here back to Miss Dawn. Tell her we said hello.
All right. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Yes. When we come back, we'll talk some college football championship games right after this on the Team SMI Starting Lineup Show.
Looking for a fitness experience that isn't your typical big box gym? At City Station Fitness, we understand going to the gym can be intimidating, and we want to change that. City Station Fitness, a proud supporter of the Team SMI starting lineup, makes your fitness experience fun and personal, and we promise to know your name by your second visit. Give us a try, and your first workout will be on us. City Station Fitness, behind CVS on Maple Street. For more information, visit citystationfitness.com and check us out on Facebook.
Join the 7 million investors who know the difference. For a proactive approach to your individual financial needs, contact an Edward Jones financial advisor near you. Call 1-800-ED-JONES, visit edwardjones.com, or stop by any Edward Jones office in Carrollton, Villa Rica, or Douglasville. Regardless of what the market is doing, we stay in touch. Even when the market's down, we'll call you up. Proactive, not reactive. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Edward Jones in Carrollton, Villa Rica, and Douglasville. Member SIPC.
Football fan knows that the 2-point conversion can make all the difference in a game. That's why State Farm is here to help you go for 2 by combining your home and auto insurance. This is State Farm agent Amy Brown reminding you that bundling your insurance can save you time and money. It's just another way to put 1 in your win column. Call me, State Farm agent Amy Brown, at 678-840-5000. Stop by our office on South Candler Street in Villa Rica, or visit online at amybrown.biz. We're here to help life go right.
Did you know that Osier Apparel offers all-inclusive fundraising web stores? Donors order direct from the store, freeing you from handling money, getting product to donors, keeping track of ordering, accounting, or delivery. Osier will work with you to set up your store. They'll even help with your design. From tote bags to t-shirts, headwear to outerwear, an Osier fundraising website puts the fun back into fundraising. To find out more or to set up your store, visit osierapparel.com or stop by their office on Avenue C in Carrollton.
This is Luke Williford of West Georgia Plumbing, Septic, and HVAC. Christmas is a time to rejoice in the birth of our Lord and Savior. May the blessings of Christ be upon you and your loved ones this season and into the new year. Thank you for the friendship and trust you have shown our family since opening our businesses. If there is anything we can ever do for you, please don't hesitate to give us a call. From all of us at West Georgia Plumbing, Septic, and HVAC, thank you for your business. Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year.
In America, someone's cell phone screen cracks every second.
I'd hate to be that guy.
Face it, someday you'll be that guy. When that day comes, don't send your phone off to be repaired. It takes weeks and costs a fortune. From busted screens to battery replacement, West Georgia Technology repairs phones and computers fast for a price that will make you smile.
Ah, shoot. So who do I call again?
West Georgia Technology, 678-664-0486, 928 South Park Street in Carrollton.
Whether it's a car accident, storm damage, or a fire, when the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you saved money in 15 minutes. In this moment, it doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, What matters is that your independent insurance agent and the company that stands behind them have you covered. Auto Owners Insurance, the no-problem people. Visit Susan, Gary, and the rest of the crew at Southland Insurance on Corporate Drive in Carrollton or online at southlandinsagency.com.
And welcome back into the Team SMI starting lineup show presented by SMI, an extremely special guest. Now, I got my brother, Joe Skinner. He knows about as much as football as I do.
I don't know about all that. I just I've brought some notes. We're going to have a good time talking about a little college football.
Yes, it is college football time, and unfortunately Joe is a little busy on Saturdays during the fall, but on those long road trips back, he's always watching some YouTube TV, watching some games on the way back.
Oh, yeah, I'm always tuning in, always keeping my eye on everything going on in the country. So,
well, first off, right now, do you think that the committee has got the four right? You think it should be Ohio State, LSU, Clemson, Georgia?
Personally, I think the LSU should be the #1 team in the country right now. I know Ohio State's dominated on both sides of the ball all year long, but I just think the resume that LSU's built about beating everybody, especially going into Tuscaloosa and beat Bama like they did, and then putting a stomping on Texas A&M at home to finish out the year. I think that they should be the #1 team in the country for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. I think LSU should be one, to be honest with you, and I think that if LSU beats Georgia this week, then they will be #1. I think LSU, they'll have five top 10 wins at that point, or maybe 4 top 10 wins and then 5 wins against the top 25. But it starts out on Friday. I don't think I've ever been a big Oregon Ducks fan, but it's going to start on Friday night when they play Utah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Utah.
First off, you can't – who watches college football on Friday night? Not very many people.
Oh, I agree. I think it's not disrespectful at all, but have a game like that on a Friday night, especially being #4 team in Utah trying to make a point. And I know there's going to be a lot of people keep an eye on there for Championship Sunday or show on Sunday. But I think I don't mind playing on a Friday, but I think especially being that big of a game like that, I want to go on Saturday for sure.
Right. Who you got, Utah or Oregon?
I'm going to go Utah. I think they're going to come out on fire. I mean, especially after everything that's been said about it. I think it was Paul Feinbaum said, like, who wants to watch Utah play in the college football playoff?
Yeah.
And, I'm a firm believer whoever gets in there in 4 is going to get smacked around the first round anyways. And I know David Pollock says some stuff like that as well. I think Utah's going to prove a point and say that they're on the rise in college football and sneak into the playoffs. It's a perfect scenario for Utah if LSU takes care of business. But
they've got a really good team. Kyle Whittingham is a really good coach for Utah. Their quarterback, couldn't tell you his name because they play on the West Coast, but I know that he is second in college football in completion percentage. Take that for what it's worth. They've got a good defense. I just feel like Oregon, they're more athletic, and I think they have the better defense, truly, than Utah does. Utah hasn't really played anybody yet. This will be Utah's only win against the top 25 team if they are to win. So, and plus Oregon lost last week to Arizona State. I think they kind of ticked them off a little bit. So give me Oregon. Currently, I think it's a 6-point favorite. I think Utah is something like that. Nonetheless, I hope that Oregon wins because I don't want to watch. I'm with Paul Feinbaum. I don't want to watch Utah play either.
Oh, I agree. I think Utah's going to come out on top, but I also also know that I'm on your side as well. I mean, not that I wouldn't want to watch Utah play, but I just think really whoever gets in that 4th spot, I'd much rather see in Oklahoma with Jalen Hurts be able to be on that stage after everything he's gone through to play in that 4th spot. But I don't think I think Utah's going to get done on Friday night, yes.
So you roll right into the next game, the 12 o'clock matchup that most people will be watching. Baylor taking on Oklahoma. Do you give Baylor a chance? Baylor was up 25 against you. I think you were on the road. Y'all were playing Delta State the week that game happened. Baylor was up 25 points and blew the game against Oklahoma in the second half. Do you give Baylor a chance to win this game, or do you think it's Jalen Hurts and Lincoln Riley?
I think with everything on the line in Baylor, I mean, I know the history, with Baylor, but I just think personally that there's nothing going to stop Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts is one of the hardest workers in the country. Everything he's been through, he's got a small chip on his shoulder, just trying to continue to prove himself and to prove that he can play at the next level and play this league as he's in. I think he's done a great job over there at Oklahoma. I personally think that Baylor has a little bit of a better defense. Personally,
yes, they do.
I think that Baylor they're going to come out strong, but I think Oklahoma will pull away late in the 4th quarter. I'm going to take Oklahoma 10 points.
You're reading my notes. I think that Oklahoma wins this game by 10. I think, like you said, Joe, Jalen Hurts has he's playing for a lot. They win. That gives him a shot to get in. If they lose, which I kind of hope they do lose, because maybe they'll play Alabama in the bowl game, and that would be more fun to see. Nonetheless, I don't see Oklahoma losing this game. This could be Lincoln Riley's last game as a coach at Oklahoma, though, because he's been rumored to take the Cowboys job. So,
also some in the odds for the Panthers job as well.
Really?
So a lot of names getting flown around in the college football world for these future NFL coaching spots that are opening up.
A game that I'll be watching a whole lot. We got a good friend coaching at Appalachian State. They're taking on the Raging Cajuns. They'll be at home against Louisiana.
Oh, I mean, I can't pick against my man Cole Cook. I mean, he's a heck of a guy. Big shout out to Cole Cook. I hope you're doing well, buddy. But yeah, I think App State, they've gone through a lot this year. I think they're just going to continue to prove what they're doing and take care of business on Saturday.
And if you're an App State fan like I am this week, we need Cincinnati to win and we need Boise State to lose. And maybe App State, if they win, they get a bowl bid to the Cotton Bowl. Possibly.
That'd be huge.
They could possibly be one of those bowl bids. We'll see what happens there. But Appalachian State, they've got two juniors who are going to be – App State's going to be really good next year again. They got Zach Evans at quarterback and Zach Thomas at quarterback and Darrington Evans at running back. They are going to be very, very talented bunch next week. Miami of Ohio, another game at 12 o'clock. This is for the MAC. I guess really the only person that cares about this would probably be Coach Keith as Central Michigan plays Miami of Ohio.
Oh, absolutely. I really feel like just to be with Coach Keith there, I just think Central Michigan's going to get it done on Saturday. Obviously, I haven't really watched a lot of Central Michigan or Miami of Ohio, but I
couldn't tell you a player on any other teams.
I could not either, and I apologize for that, but it is what it is.
But I will say this: right before I went on the air tonight, I read a story. Central Michigan's play-by-play announcer passed away in a car wreck earlier this afternoon. So give me the Chippewas for that reason.
Oh yeah,
playing with a passion. Give me the Chippewas of Central Michigan. If you care to see Lane Kiffin coach his last game at Florida Atlantic, or heck, he might not even show up on Saturday to coach that game the way things have been going on Twitter. That man, if you don't follow him on Twitter, he is a hoot.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And they are the Owls.
So, they are. That's a nice little pun.
No pun intended.
That's a nice little pun there. But, I agree. I think Lane Kiffin went down, paid his dues. I think he's going to get an opportunity to play. I personally think he'll end up in Arkansas.
Yeah.
I know there have been a lot of talks this week about that. I think Lane Kiffin will kind of go out a little bang. I can also see Lane Kiffin really not really caring as much, or not really just having his eyes on other things and distractions and rat poisoning, as my man Jalen Hurts would say.
What about UAB? Do you give them a chance against Florida Atlantic? UAB, the Bill Clark led team.
I don't know. I know UAB fortunately they rebooted their football program a couple years back. I know that's exciting for them.
This is their second straight year in the Conference USA Championship.
Oh yeah, that's great.
So.
I think be back in a big game like that. But I just think personally, in my opinion, it just depends on how Lane Kiffin has coached his team this week with everything going on, the outside distractions. I know if he just continued to preach, do the little things right, then I'm sure that they'll come out and take care of business. If not, then UAB's got a really good chance to win this game on Saturday.
All right, the 3:30 game, and I'm not talking about Georgia LSU because that's at 4, but the game that I'll be watching specifically for our boy Dylan Parham, the Memphis Tigers, taking on Cincinnati, and we kind of need Cincinnati to win for our sake for my friend Cole, but you can't go against your teammate Dylan Parham, can't you?
Yeah, graduated high school with Dylan. He's one of the hardest workers I've ever seen. Made the transition to tight end from a defensive end. Honestly, would have probably gone D1 AA Division I at defensive end level. He put up some great numbers his junior year.
He batted 70 pounds between his freshman year and senior year.
He put on a lot of weight. Great hard worker. Always just keeps his nose down. Doesn't say a whole lot. Just gets the job done. He's great to have on that. He's great to have on the offensive line there at guard. I don't think he's missed a single game since he's kind of the starting lineup. I think he's been an every week starter for him.
Left guard. I think he plays left guard. He plays one of the guards.
I know I've seen him rotate around. Yeah. He does a lot of what Case does and rotates around. He's kind of a utility man on the line. He's a great addition to that Memphis team.
We'll save the best for last with Georgia LSU. The Hawaii Rainbow Warriors taking on Boise State at the Blue Field at Boise. I don't give Hawaii much of a chance to win this
I don't either. I think Boise State's a very hard team to beat. I mean, you can ask the Georgia Bulldogs. I mean, but that just brings up terrible memories there. But especially at home, I'm going to take Boise State for sure.
Yeah, Hawaii. that's a long trip. I'm sure obviously they're already there. They're playing at 4 o'clock Eastern time, which means they're playing at 1 o'clock Idaho time. So I wonder when they left and got there and kind of get themselves rejuvenated a little bit, because those flights over the ocean are no fun.
Oh, they're not. I agree.
We'll see what that has to be in store for next week, or for Saturday at 4 p.m. Virginia taking on Clemson. Do you give the Cavaliers any chance? Bryce Perkins at quarterback for Virginia. Give them a chance?
I think Virginia's going to come out and give them a good fight in the first half. But I think this Trevor Lawrence and this Clemson team is really upset. Obviously, they're not getting a lot of love from the committee or really from anybody in the country, because they haven't really played anybody. But I mean, then again, you can't blame for that, because you make the schedules a couple years in advance.
Right.
We got down a couple things. I mean, I think Trevor Lawrence is going to throw for over 250 yards. I think Clemson will pull away big time early in the second half, and just really take over that game with that defense and that running attack.
The thing I'm disappointed in about the committee, they've won 27 straight games, and they're a Power 5 team, and I know that they I have them at 3 in my individual poll, but you've won 27 straight games. It's pretty impressive.
I agree, without a doubt. You're going to be able to come out there every day and take care of business like that. I know they had a close call with North Carolina early in the year, but they've really turned things around like that. Trevor Lawrence is playing like the freshman Trevor Lawrence played last year, and honestly a little bit better. But I think Clemson's going to make a big statement this weekend, playing their first top 25 team, and really just show the country that they're going to make some noise in the college football playoff.
Ohio State and Wisconsin. This is the 8 o'clock game on Fox. I hate that America has to listen to Joel Klatt, but Gus Johnson is by far the best play-by-play announcer on TV. But nonetheless, do you see Wisconsin winning this ball game? Do you give them a chance at all? They were embarrassed already once this year by Ohio State. Is it going to happen again?
I think Wisconsin's going to give them a game. Like I said, same thing with Virginia. I think Ohio State played just late in the fourth quarter. I think Wisconsin's going to come out with a chip on their shoulder. They're really going to establish a run, and if they can run the ball and keep Chase Young out of it on the Ohio State defensive side, I feel like they have a good chance to just make it a game and see what happens. Because if you look at it, Ohio State really hasn't been in that big of a game late in the fourth quarter, really close game. I know they had Penn State, but honestly, I was watching that one, and they were in control of the game pretty much the entire time. And I know Justin Fields'
Penn State could not block Chase Young.
They could not.
At all.
It was a nice little welcome back party for sure. Really established himself in the Heisman race once again after missing 2 games.
Do you think that Chase Young, or not Chase Young, but Justin Fields, they keep saying that he's hurt. Do you think it's serious? Or?
I think I don't doubt it's game 12, 13 now. Everybody's banked up this time of year, being especially playing in that big of a conference they do and all the games that they play. I feel like Justin Fields is. If he's hurt, then he came in hurt after being hurt just a couple plays later and threw a perfect touchdown dime in the end zone. I got to catch that highlight last week, so I feel like Justin Fields is just fine. I feel like they're just kind of building up a little bit, and he's going to come out and really take care of business.
Army Navy before we get to the big one.
Man, I'm gonna have to go with Army. I feel like big shout out to Tucker Siplo's in the Army. He goes to school there. Luke Frost as well goes there as well. A couple good friends of mine. I'm gonna put my money on Army.
I'm gonna go with Jeff Monken and Army as well. I think they'll upset Navy, who's actually 24th in the latest college football playoff rankings.
Oh, that's
so
huge.
I don't know how they are ranked that high, but there you go. Give me Army in that one though. All right, the one we'll be watching, and you'll actually. Lucky Joker actually get to be there and be in person. I will be. I get to work a couple events, and then I got a little ticket to get inside. So it's going to be an exciting time. I'm excited. First time being in the bins, being an opportunity to go to the bins. You've never been to the bins?
I never have. When you're busy and every weekend you're doing stuff. I never had the opportunity to go to the bins. So I'm excited to see. I'm just excited to be around the atmosphere. I know, especially with the LSU fans coming in just red hot after all this big year they've had. Yeah, they've definitely had a big year. They've beaten pretty much everybody on their schedule. They've only really been in 4 games that they haven't been in control of. The Auburn game, the Florida game, the Alabama game, those 3 right there were kind of back and forth before they pulled away. But Georgia, obviously, I think they've got a chance for the defensive side of the ball, but can Georgia do anything on offense, especially throwing the ball? Because LSU is going to just stack the box and play man-to-man. Oh, of course. They're going to make Georgia throw the football and put the pressure on Jake Fromm and this really young receiving core that Dogs have. I know losing George Pickens in the first half is going to hurt a little bit, but I feel
what an idiot, man.
Yeah, that was it's a big rivalry game, but you really have to understand that you're playing for more. They were playing for nothing. He he is going to be at home watching the ACC championship game, eating his popcorn on the couch on Saturday. I mean, he had nothing. He was doing that just to make a scene out of it. And I mean, I know Pickens took care of business. All right. I mean, I saw it live. He threw him up against the wall, took care of business. But just one thing you really can't have.
The other guy threw 3 punches and didn't have anything happen to him.
He did. But I know, we all see it one way because we're biased. But I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like the Dogs are going to put the faith in Jake Fromm's hands. I know there's been a lot of talk about the Dogs opening up the playbook this week. I feel that Kirby's just had a really good understanding that he knows he can win with running the football and the defense that they've had. And I know that those days have honestly have come to an end. I feel like if Georgia's going to win on Saturday and go and try to make some noise in the college football playoff, they're going to have to open up the playbook and really let Jake Fromm throw. I feel like Jake's a tremendous passer. I know I've got a couple notes. I mean, he's 7 TDs and over just a hair under 60% completion ratio against the top 25 teams this year. So I feel like Jake Fromm is going to be poised and hand the ball off, obviously, but I also feel like he's going to make some plays with his arms as well.
I feel like James Cook and DeAndre Swift have to be huge factors because they can, and Herring, they can catch the ball out of the backfield. Another stat that they've been preaching all week, especially with George Pickens and Cager being out, he is 73% completion percentage when throwing to Cager and Pickens. When throwing to everybody else, he's only 52 or 53%. Do you believe in a stat like that? Because I do.
I mean, well, personally, I feel like it's just it's kind of just the way the game goes. Being out there and being able to play in these situations, see it live and at West Georgia in Division II football, I feel like, I mean, obviously every quarterback's got their favorite target, but I feel like the good quarterbacks like Joe Burrow, obviously Tua Tagovailoa, those guys have been able to spread it out, give it to everybody. Granted, they also have 2 of the top receiving corps in the country for sure. But when you're sharing the love and you make sure everybody get the football, and then I feel like I don't really personally believe in that stat very much. But, I mean, it's just kind of is what it is. Everybody's got their guy for sure.
Yeah. Give me Georgia, 32-28. We lost 32-28 to Alabama in 2012. I think it's going to be the other way around. My boy David Brock's got Glory playing in the background.
I mean, obviously, I'm going to go with the Dogs as well. I think, personally, I'm going to go with Georgia, obviously, because I'm a Georgia fan. But I think it's going to be a tough game, tough, tall task for Kirby Smart and the Dogs. But I feel like they're going to keep chopping, get up to the challenge, and really sneak in the college football playoff and kind of shock everybody.
David Brock, you're back in the studio with us. If you can hear us and you can talk, what do you got a prediction for the Dogs on Saturday?
I do. Can you hear me?
Yes, I know you're a Tech fan, but I'll give you a chance to talk anyways.
Well, I do appreciate that, Matt. Thank you so much. It's one of those things that LSU's had a great year. They've won the games that they were supposed to. They won the games that maybe they weren't supposed to this year. And that Burrow kid has come in. Where did he transfer from?
He was a third-string quarterback at Ohio State.
The Ohio State University, yes.
The Ohio State. Well, he's come and become first-string and beating some SEC West tail. So
this is true. He's not wrong.
Georgia, they're going to have to stop them up front, and that's what the Georgia defense does. So I think the Atlanta ties are going to help a little bit, a little home field advantage, if you will.
Okay.
So I'm taking. I think it's going to be a lot lower than everybody thinks. I'm taking Georgia 17-14.
Oh, man. I'll take that. Rodrigo, baby.
I would take that as well. I would.
But I do have to say this real quick, though. Matt, you go to a Baptist church, and you picked against the biggest Baptist school in not picking Baylor. So they'll remember that.
It's okay. Hey, if Baylor wins, and Georgia loses, I think Baylor should be in.
That's crazy.
Because Baylor's only loss this year was to Oklahoma. If they then beat Oklahoma, they are a Big 12 champion, and they have beaten everybody on their record, and they have a way better strength of schedule and record than Utah does.
That's true. I mean, I agree with you, but I would much rather see Utah in the college football playoff than Baylor.
No, I would much rather see Baylor play.
If anybody in the Big 12 could find a defense.
Well, that's my thing with Baylor. Baylor, we thought, had a good defense. They played great defense for 2.5 quarters against Oklahoma before the wheels fell off the bus. But nonetheless, David Brock, thanks for chiming in with us, buddy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any final thoughts, Joe, before we're closing the program? We're shutting it down.
Just want to say go Dogs, go Wolves, and go Trojans.
Yeah, you're about to get baseball started up, right?
Oh, we are. Starting on January 4th, first team meeting, then 5th, kicking it off, get back on the diamond. Really excited team we have coming back there. There's a lot of pitching. It's going to be really nice things, or really exciting things coming to the diamond on the softball side and baseball side in the 2020.
Tell me this, coming up, I saw the post that Jeff Smith put out, but y'all got Jeff Francoeur, the leadoff dinner this year?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Leadoff dinner, we come together, the baseball and softball team does, and Jeff Francoeur, he did it a couple years back. We had Charlie Culberson last year, and tough news having to Charlie. I really hate that.
He can still come back. Everybody's freaking out. He can still re-sign with us if he wants to.
Oh, that's fair. I understand that, but it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. But it's a really exciting thing. We come in, we get to eat a nice meal provided by the university, and they always do something really nice for us. And we're in the Coliseum, beautiful venue, always set up nice. Jeff Francoeur will give some wise words, and then a little Q&A with the coaches as well, introduces both teams. And really excited to see what Jeff Francoeur's got to say this year after a couple years off and come from seeing us and being on TV a lot, calling the Braves games, and just some more experience and stories.
Yeah, well, when is that taking place?
I think it's the last week in January.
Last week in January?
I don't have a date on that.
No, it's okay. I'm sure we'll get it shared out on our Graddock Sports Facebook page. And as we wrap up here tonight on the Team SMI Starting Lineup Show, I want to say once again, go Dogs. Thank you to Joel Brock all season long. This man, we get here at 4:30, 5 o'clock every Thursday. We set up and we go to work. And appreciate Joel and David Brock, who's been in the studio all season long. Really appreciate you, buddy, and all that you do. For Joe Skinner, Matt Skinner, reminding you guys to do your best and let God do the rest. Have a great one.